There's two things that are happening here. Either somebody messed up in paperwork or in communication or in some form of getting this fight together, misspoke to one of these guys, or Floyd Mayweather is trying to scam Netflix.
At the end of the day, I'm the smart one. Because I don't care if you write good about me, you write bad about me, just keep writing about me.
I want a real fight, so he signed what I signed. He signed a real fight, and I signed a real fight. And he got his advance, so there's no reason to make excuses.
Boxing just got dragged into what may become one of the wildest contract disasters the sport has ever seen. Floyd Mayweather may have thought he could take the advance money, control the narrative, and quietly shift the terms later. But this time, the machine on the other side is Netflix, and Netflix is not playing. Reports now claim Floyd is facing a massive penalty after allegedly trying to back out of the Manny Pacquiao rematch as originally announced. Insiders say the damage figure being discussed could reach 100 million. Yes, that number is real, and yes, it has sent shockwaves through the entire fight world. From day one, the event was presented as a real professional fight. Netflix rolled it out publicly. The Sphere in Las Vegas was named as the venue. September 19th was put on the calendar. It looked official, huge, and locked in. But then Floyd started changing the story in public, and that's when everything began to explode.
Now we don't know exactly where the fight is going to be at. We don't know the location of the fight. The Sphere is one of the places that they talked about. So we don't know if it's 100% going to be there. And this is not actually a fight, it's an exhibition.
Okay.
At an autograph signing in late March, Floyd was asked about the Pacquiao fight, and his response immediately threw everything into chaos. Instead of confirming the blockbuster exactly as fans had been told, he reportedly suggested that the location was still being discussed. Then he said something even bigger. He described the fight as an exhibition, not a true professional bout. That one statement may have changed everything, because according to people close to the situation, that is not what he signed. Manny Pacquiao's side did not let that slide for even a second. Sean Gibbons, speaking on behalf of Pacquiao's camp, went public and made it clear they believe Floyd is in direct breach of contract. No soft language, no diplomatic spin. Just a blunt message. Floyd signed up for one thing and is now publicly talking.
Oh, this is what Pacquiao manager said. If he's scared of Manny and does not want to put the record on the line in a professional boxing match, not only should he have never executed these agreements, but he should have just come right out and said because Manny ain't scared.
According to Pacquiao's camp, there is no confusion here at all. They say Floyd signed 3 separate agreements, one in October, one in November, and one in December. And every one of them was for a professional fight, not a no-risk exhibition. That detail matters because Floyd's undefeated record is everything to his brand. In an exhibition, the record stays protected. In a real fight, the pressure is totally different. But Pacquiao's side insists that the paperwork was crystal clear from the beginning, and the controversy gets even worse because reports say Floyd received money when those agreements were signed. If that is true, then this is no longer just a public relations mess. It becomes a contract issue with real financial consequences attached to it. That's it.
Yeah, there's a disagreement in terms of whether this is a real fight or an exhibition, but really that's really falling on the side of Mayweather, since apparently he already signed the contract. The deal was already done. He took some advances apparently on the actual agreed upon terms of the.
And here is where the heat really rises. Reports suggest that Netflix did not just make a public announcement and wait around. They allegedly put up serious advance money, millions of dollars up front. One reporter floated the idea that Floyd had already received multiple millions, and insiders reportedly pushed back by saying the real amount may be even higher. If that's accurate, then Floyd didn't just agree in principle. He took the money, signed the deal, and then started trying to redefine the event afterward. That is exactly why so many people in boxing are calling this a disaster. Taking advance payments and then shifting the format in public makes the entire situation look reckless and possibly very expensive.
So what does this mean, and what's like a potential outcome for this case that's coming up? Well, the lawsuit could have some pretty serious implications, not only for Floyd's legacy, but also for how networks and advisors handle fighter compensation.
Makes this story even more explosive is that people inside boxing say this kind of behavior is not new. Critics have pointed out that the first Mayweather-Pacquiao fight took years to finalize because the negotiations were constantly changing, new conditions kept appearing, and the finish line kept moving. Back then, Floyd still had enough power to keep the boxing world waiting. But this is not that era anymore, and this is not the same kind of opponent across the table. This time, Netflix is involved, and Netflix is a completely different beast. We are talking about a global company with massive resources, major legal muscle, and zero incentive to let a superstar embarrass them on a worldwide stage after taking their money and muddying the message.
It's an exhibition with me, but I disagree, and I want to fight with exhibition with him. I want to fight a real fight like this. So this is it. Like,
that's why the reported penalty clause has become the scariest part of this entire drama. People close to the negotiations claim the contract includes a major damages provision if Floyd backs out or materially breaches the agreement. Pacquiao's camp has publicly hinted that the number is substantial, and when pressed, they suggested the exposure could climb into the 8-figure or even 9-figure range. Think about that for a second. That means the fallout could be anywhere from life-changing to absolutely catastrophic, and Floyd cannot act like none of this is documented, because the reporting suggests the agreements were digitally signed, tracked, and fully traceable. If the records are airtight, then this becomes the kind of corner that no fighter can dance out of.
The price ranges from 8 figures all the way to 9 figures that I'm able to get for exhibitions. And so why would I go out there and risk, fighting a top fighter when I can get the same amount of money for 3 rounds with whoever?
Manny Pacquiao himself has added pressure to the story by speaking openly about the dispute. He has said Floyd already received the advance, and from Manny's perspective, there should be no excuses left. More importantly, Pacquiao made it clear that this was never supposed to be some harmless exhibition where the records stay safe and history stays untouched. His side says this is meant to be a real fight, one where both men put their names, records, and legacies on the line. That public stance matters because it leaves Floyd looking like the one trying to soften the stakes after the fact. And in boxing, once fans smell hesitation, the damage spreads fast.
Right, saying that he feels it's an exhibition and not a real fight.
is that what he's feeling? But he signed a real fight.
So it's for sure.
Yes, the contract that we signed is a real fight.
Real fight. Okay. Yeah, because I know he said.
I wouldn't fight an exhibition.
No exhibition. It's either.
That hesitation becomes even more dangerous when you place it next to the financial pressure already surrounding Mayweather's name. For months, reports have linked Floyd to lawsuits from jewelers and other creditors. One case allegedly involves more than $1 million for luxury watches and chains. Another report says he paid only $300,000 on a bill that was allegedly above that $1.6 million. Whether every figure holds up in full or not, the image being created is brutal. A man known as Money suddenly appearing in headline after headline involving unpaid balances, lawsuits, and financial strain. That makes the Netflix situation feel even more serious because now people aren't seeing it as one isolated contract.
Like they're like, oh, this is like one of the OG jeweler guys. This is like who everyone else gets their stuff from. And he told me, and I'm not gonna say who it is, but he's like, Mayweather's broke. I said, no. He's like, no, really, Mayweather's broke. Now, I don't know if it's true.
Right.
This is what this guy told me. I'm like, how could he be broke? He's like, yo, he spends like crazy.
Then come the reports about unpaid rent, which only make the picture look worse. Sources have claimed Floyd was sued over more than $300,000 tied to a Manhattan luxury apartment. For most public figures, that would already be embarrassing. For Floyd Mayweather, it cuts much deeper because his entire persona was built on the idea that cash is never supposed to be a problem. He has spent years telling the world that he lives on a completely different financial level. So when stories about unpaid rent, unpaid jewelry, and disputed money all appear at once, the public naturally starts asking a brutal question. Is the money image still real, or is it being held together by reputation and repetition?
Also know for a fact that Floyd is operating at a deficit right now. He is not making money, he is spending money or losing money. It's not going well for Floyd Mayweather's finances.
That is exactly why the possible Netflix penalty feels so dangerous. If Floyd really is trying to maneuver his way out of the fight while keeping the advance or reshaping the terms, then the alleged $100 million exposure could hit like a wrecking ball. And this is not just random gossip. Veteran boxing reporter Lance Pugmire has discussed the existence of significant advance payments, and those details have only strengthened the perception that Floyd may already be locked into something much bigger than he first expected. Once a giant company like Netflix puts real money into an event and publicly commits to it, there is no easy escape hatch. Floyd may have taken the money thinking he still had room to control the story.
You know, multi-billion-dollar company officially announced that this would be a real fight at the Sphere. So earlier this morning, I spoke to Chaz Mather, who is the CEO of Manny Pacquiao Promotions, and he said it is absolutely a real fight. There's a signed contract. Mayweather signed it. It's in there. That it's a real fight that'll count on their records, and it's going to be at the Sphere. So I'm not sure what Floyd is talking about. I don't know if Floyd got bad advice, but he's contracted, so it would be a breach if not. I don't see him turning down.
Pacquiao's camp reportedly went even further by issuing Floyd a clear deadline to confirm in writing that he would honor the agreement. After that, a cure period was said to kick in, giving him a final window to fix the breach. If he failed to do that, then the heavier penalties could reportedly activate in full. And the timing is brutal because the Sphere is not the kind of venue where you casually delay things and sort them out later. Massive productions at that level require time, planning, stage design, promotion, logistics, and money. Every day of uncertainty burns resources. Some reports have also suggested Floyd may be creating extra problems for himself by discussing or planning other fights, including one with Mike Zambidis in Greece and another delayed event linked to Mike Tyson. If his Pacquiao deal restricts
that fans will watch for sure is you and Mike Tyson. How's training going, Floyd? Talk to me all about this as you get ready to get back in that boxing ring once again.
Well, not really training right now.
Pacquiao's team is clearly done playing nice. Their public message has basically been, if Floyd doesn't want to risk that perfect record, then he should say so plainly instead of hiding behind changing labels and shifting language. That is a brutal line of attack because it frames Manny as ready and Floyd as fearful. And a lot of fans are buying it. Industry voices have started saying that Floyd may be genuinely worried about what a real Pacquiao rematch could do to his legacy. Their first fight was controversial enough that many fans never felt fully satisfied. Manny was damaged physically going in, yet still pushed the fight into a space where debate never died. Now the idea that Floyd might be trying to avoid a true rematch is giving that old argument fresh life all over again.
They're Pacquiao potentially falling apart. I mean, I have to say this, Mayweather, come on, dude. Fight a real fight. You're still trying to protect your O? Yes, you're 50-0 on paper, but people know you've lost.
A lot of experts think age and activity are now central to the story. Floyd has not had a true professional fight since 2017. Since then, it's been exhibitions, spectacles, and controlled events. Pacquiao, meanwhile, has stayed closer to real competition, and many people thought he looked strong enough in his recent appearances to remain dangerous. That changes the psychology completely. Floyd built his entire brand around precision, reflexes, speed, and defensive timing. But those gifts don't stay frozen forever. If Floyd knows he is no longer the same fighter and Pacquiao still believes he can win, then suddenly that professional fight language becomes terrifying. And if fear of that outcome is driving this whole
Floyd Mayweather, I think he just knows that. I think he preferred it to be an exhibition, and that just doesn't look good. That doesn't look like a guy who's going to be totally prepared and who's going to be mentally there.
Netflix, this fight was reportedly supposed to be a statement event after seeing huge attention around other crossover spectacles. They appeared to want a major combat sports identity of their own. A Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch at the Sphere, streamed to hundreds of millions of subscribers, is the kind of global blockbuster that could make noise far beyond boxing. The first fight did historic business, around 4.6 million pay-per-view buys and a live gate of roughly 72 million. A rematch in the streaming era could have become a giant pop culture moment all over again. That is why Floyd trying to reframe it as a harmless exhibition would wreck the entire strategy. It would instantly lower the stakes, reduce the drama, and take the
According to the reports, Pacquiao and Netflix were under the impression that it was a real fight that would count. Like if Floyd won, he'd be 51-0. But Floyd's saying in a recent interview that's not the case.
Some people believe Floyd may be trying to force Netflix's hand, make the fight unattractive enough that the platform cancels while he keeps what he already received and avoids the risk of losing. Others think he genuinely believed he could sign first, collect money, and then use his name power to rewrite the deal later. Either way, it looks dangerous, because if this does go legal, Pacquiao's camp has already hinted that confidential documents could become public, and if that happens, the story may get much uglier. Advance amounts, deal terms, deadlines, communications, purse structures, and maybe even details about Floyd's financial position could all come into view if the advance money—
I wonder what Netflix thinks about this. Like Netflix, which is throwing its resources behind it, which is putting a bunch of money into it, which is arranging reportedly for the Sphere to be the venue of choice for this fight. I gotta believe that Netflix is expecting this to be a real fight, because what is in it for Netflix?
Pacquiao's side has also made it clear they are not going to freeze in place forever. According to them, the date is still valuable, the venue is still valuable, and Netflix is still committed. If Floyd walks away, they believe another opponent can step in and take the spot. That possibility is humiliating for someone like Mayweather, because then he wouldn't just be fighting penalties. He would be watching another fighter take his event, his platform, and his payday while his own reputation takes the hit. And the public response has already been savage. Social media is calling him scared, calling him a runner, calling him a man who took the advance and panicked when the reality became real. For a fighter who spent decades controlling how the world saw him, that kind of narrative is poison.
I sit here with sadness today to report to you that I'm incredibly disappointed in one of my all-time favorite fighters, my brother, Floyd Money Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather may have made one of the worst business calculations of his career. He spent years using his star power to bend the sport around him, and maybe he thought he could do the same thing here. But Netflix is not a traditional promoter, and this is not the old boxing game. If he honors the contract, he risks the undefeated image that shaped his entire legacy. If he refuses, he could be hit with a financial and public relations disaster that follows him for years. That is what makes this so shocking. Floyd Mayweather, the man who always looked one step ahead, suddenly appears trapped by his own signature. And for the first time in a long time, the biggest fight of his life may not happen in a ring at all. It may happen in a courtroom against a contract he can't outbox.